Peace and blessings, family. Welcome to the Black Artist Fair presented by Comcast and the Black Arts District. The Black Artist Fair is designed to connect Black creatives from the greater Baltimore area to resources and services to further enhance their crafts and creative practices. We recognize that often Black creatives have less opportunities to develop throughout their careers. So this space has been curated to provide quality opportunities for growth, to challenge the ways in which white supremacy has impacted Baltimore's creative community, and to develop strategies to make Baltimore a more culturally equitable space. We invite you to listen for understanding and, most importantly, to build with us. So we are really happy to have you this afternoon for our youth artists and activist panel led by Sister Keyma Flight. We hope that you enjoy the conversation while you're on today's broadcast. Matter of fact, I think we lost Keyma. We'll get her back in a second. But while you're on today's broadcast, make sure that you get in the comments section. If you have any questions for any of these young artists, make sure that you put it in the chat box. We'll try to get your questions answered. Also, make sure you stay until the end to fill out our performance survey to make sure that this event and other events like it are actually useful to you and helpful to your journey on as a Black creator here in Baltimore. So I'm going to bring on Keyma Flight and our panelists, and we can get started. Hey, Keyma.
Hello.
All right, I'm going to step out and let you get to it.
All right, word. What's up, y'all? Peace and blessings to everybody. I'm so excited to be moderating for this youth activist and artivist panel. We have a couple folks with us, but I'm going to go ahead and let them have the floor as a panelist. So panelists, please introduce yourselves to the audience watching. Let's start with Anisah.
Hey everybody, I'm Anisah Gonzalez, aka Sazez. I am the youth art and activism ambassador for DewMore right now. And I am one of the youth that's been working with DewMore over the summer and over the last year to curate some new programs that we hope will contribute to some self-sustainability and furtherment of that in Baltimore City. And yeah, that's me.
All right, thank you so much, Anisah. Since y'all in the same room, I'm gonna go ahead and put y'all on the spot. So please, if you will, Lovey, introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody on virtual land. My name is Maren Lovey Wright-Kerr, aka Afrodelic. I work with DewMore in bass, and Anisah, me, and Keyma just passed the torch from being on the Baltimore City Youth Poetry team for a couple of years, which was cool. I am a self-taught independent animator and poet and painter, and I just be making things. And that's me. I'm 19 years old. I don't know.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much. And now, Justice, if you will, introduce yourself.
Yes, hello. Hi, beautiful people. My name is Justice Georgie, and I am 20 years old. I attend the illustrious Morgan State University, and I am a part of Youth as Resources, as well as Youth Rising Coalition, Urban Alliance, and I'm really happy to be here. Here at Youth as Resources, we are a nonprofit organization that gives various grants to organizations like that's on this panel, that does great things within the community. And my job is to promote like the content. I do like public relations, and really like try to push stuff out there, to get to everybody, so they can know of this opportunity for the youth. Like the queens that just spoke, I am also a poet, so I'm just really happy to be here, and it's truly an honor.
Okay, I think we lost Keyma for a second. We won't wait till she gets back. Last panelist, you can just go ahead and introduce yourself till we get Keyma back on.
Hello, my name is Mychaell. I'm with the Baltimore Algebra project. Where you?
Sorry about that.
Oh, I'm Mychaell. I'm with the Baltimore Project. We're a youth-led organization that works with injustices in the school system and in the community, mainly black and brown communities. Oh my God. And I like. I'm mainly into activism, but I also do poetry. I also like do poetry, creative writing, and art. That's pretty much it. Thank you for having me.
All right, wonderful. Thank you, panelists, for introducing yourselves. I just want to remind everyone that this panel will serve as a meaningful conversation with youth artists and activists who will speak to the urgency for young artists to get involved in their communities and get involved in social issues. And it will discuss the effective strategies that we have for creating change in Baltimore and beyond. So now that we're all aware of what we intend to do with this conversation, I think the first thing that I would like to start off with is where it started for all of you. How did you all get involved in civic engagement, and how did you know that social issues were a passion that you wanted to pursue professionally and creatively? Uh, Anyone can jump in if you'd like to go first. If not, I'm gonna pick on y'all and call somebody.
Um, I feel like when it comes to that question, I can't really say there was like a thing about civic engagement that I saw from the outside and was like, that's my passion. I think it was just I was poor and I was from both a Muslim and a brown family. And yeah, like my mom made barely any money. She's a single mother raising two kids, and sitting in between those different intersections and just like living in that um, day-to-day experience of both microaggressive but also like systemic classism and Islamophobia and all that jazz. It wasn't really about being drawn into civic engagement. It was really just about like, okay, this is my life and I don't really like certain aspects of what I have to endure, what my friends have to endure. So I'm gonna try to take part in changing that to the best of my ability.
Well, I have to say, for me, I know I was in high school and I was looking for a YouthWorks job, and I've always been interested in theater. Theater has always been like theater was like my first passion before poetry. And one of my mom's friends was like, "Hey, look, I really think that you should check out this organization called Wormwood Productions." Now, Wormwood Productions, shout out to them, whoop whoop. They are a theater organization who promotes activists as well as they talk about real world problems. So I'm like, okay, cool. All I heard was theater. So I said, all right, bam, say less. Right. So I come into this like building and, I'm thinking I'm about to audition to like Princess and a Frog. You feel me? Or like some Disney type stuff. And they say, and the first thing, we talk about is, it was like, all right, y'all, we're going to talk about underage drinking. And I was like, whoa, what is this? Like, what type what type of program is this? And instantly, like, I fell in love, with this organization here at the time. Like I was just really like I just wanted to move out of Baltimore. Like my high school, nobody was really paying attention. Nobody was really learning anything. Like it was just like so much hate, and like I just wanted to go out of state. And being a part of an organization, like they made me love my community again. They made me want to help. Through theater. So we talk about underage drinking. We talk about like domestic abuse, and to see the faces, and these are real stories that are coming from us that we're sharing with Baltimore. And to see people's faces, to see their hearts open up, to see people crying of tears of joy, that this message is getting out. It made me realize that my heart is in Baltimore. My heart is in Charm City, that like I want to help change the world.
That was really beautiful. Ooh wee. I don't know how I follow that, but I guess I can go next. I also was like a theater kid first before anything. Like I just wanted to be on stage and the center of attention and all that jazz since I was a very little girl. And then I pretty much owe everything I'm involved in right now to DewMore Baltimore for real. I grew up like hiding behind my mom's knees at different poetry performances. Shout out to Shania Wright. That's my mwah. Love her so much. But I was kind of forced into going to the Maya Baraka Writing Institute over the summer in middle school. And there we would just it was also a youth works program, and it was with DewMore too. And we would go there and we would learn about different literary devices and the history of different poets and whatnot. And then all those excellent poets of Baltimore like Slangston, Jacob, Breon, and Mecca was there. So it was really just a space of constant inspiration. And I would always feel like I was learning something new about my community that I didn't know before. And also learning how to I it had been drawn to my attention all the Anisah said all the microaggressions of just living in this space and in this body that I exist in was just, I don't know where I'm going with that, but it made me want to talk about it and do stuff about it more and more. So I guess that's how I got involved. I don't know.
Mychaell?
Oh, I love how everybody's y'all sound so heartfelt, but well, I guess mine's probably, I don't know. It was not a clear transition to when it actually started, because I realized I started off pretty young. Well, not well. When I say pretty young, I mean it was small things from giving homeless people food or candy and stuff as I walked by. Going to the store with my mother and stuff. And then I remember being in this group. I believe, but it wasn't a part of the school or anything. It was when I was in middle school, elementary. It's either late elementary or early middle. And we was in the thing where we would go around plant stuff in the garden, and then we did a mural. And then after that, going into high school, I got recommended to Baltimore Algebra project for youth work. So I stayed. Oh, so I went with them for youth work, and then I stayed after that, and I got hired. And it's just I don't know, it's just something that feels right to do, and it's I enjoy doing it. So it's not it don't feel like an actual job. It's kind of a lifestyle, I guess, but it's not a lifestyle.
Okay, thank y'all. Okay, word, I hear that. So with I guess with being the next generation of what people consider either social justice, civic engagement, whatever name you want to give it, that the youth have to pass on and carry a torch and things like that. What do you feel adults can do to continue to support the youth, especially since things are so much more different? Their fights are let's not say different. Our fights are very similar, but it's just a newer generation, and more people feel like this youth has a newer way of approaching it. How can adults or elders support the youth who are making change today?
I got one word, and that word is listen. Please. I feel so many problems between the so-called adults and the youth is that y'all just don't be listening. Y'all will hear and y'all be like, oh my gosh, look at the youth doing that thing that the youth do, and then y'all don't really pay attention to the things that we say because they're important. And I feel growing up, I wouldn't think that my words were important because of some adults that would be at my school or whatever. And yeah, I feel some adults are so used to the way that things are, and as a youth it's very easy for us, I feel, to visualize the way that things could be. So that's why I feel yeah, y'all should just listen to us and we'll create a brand new reality and it'll be great.
And I feel for me, on that and an extension of it, is like listen and actually support us. I feel like I would say almost every time I've been invited to a youth event a youth-led event that adults have catered, or spaces adults have catered and say it's a youth-led event, or even times where we've worked with adults personally in the organizations and projects and initiatives that we've created. At the end of the day, there's always been a severe lack of authenticity and honesty and transparency. And what's really going on is these people are using the image of the youth to support them. So to use us as like the optics to further whatever their agenda is. And they only highlight youth whose voices match their idea of how things need to progress forward. So it becomes a lot less about actually listening to youth and more about using youth and youth voices to further your agenda, and not respecting or honoring voices that don't do that, because the youth are little pawns to these organizations. And of all these adults, honestly, adult activists, adult-led organizations. So actually listening so that you can support us in the way we want to be supported, in the vision we see. I think that, and I would say supporting us means supporting the imagination. There's this idea that imagination is unrealistic, and every single aspect of any reality we live in has been an aspect that was previously imagined and then brought into reality. This entire system that we lived in did not exist a couple thousand years ago, and it was imagined and brought into reality. So to be supportive of the imagination of the youth and the completely new visions that do not seem realistic, it's because you bring something new so that you can create a world that isn't as it is now and doesn't have the harms, and making that world realistic through the use of imagination. So that would kind of sum up my whole thing about y'all supporting us.
Snaps, 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 snaps. Oh my gosh. I agree 100%. Listening and support, y'all ain't never lied. Uh I was gonna like when I heard like listen and support, like I just agree, because like that's absolutely factual. Um I know, like me growing up and everything, like, I was like I love my mom's dearly, and I know like I love my pops dearly, but he had died, at a like very very young age when I was a kid. So like I didn't really have like that male influence growing up. And as a child, as a young man, I was being taught that like, all right, do as I say, like yo, like stay in a child's place and everything like that. Like you got any problems, like, take it with God, like make sure you pray, which like of course, like that was cool, but I didn't really have that much of a relationship with God, like being younger as I do now. But sometimes, like I really feel as though, like listening would be so helpful in our community. Therapy is like really frowned upon. It'd be like, yo, like you go to therapy, like, and like it sucks that we gotta go to therapy, because why go to therapy when our parents can listen to us, right? Why go to therapy when like we can just like talk to like our parents or like our family members, like, look, this is what's going on, this is what's happening to us, like without getting judged. Why pay, thousands of dollars for a therapist, when we can just go to somebody, like that we love dear to us, without any judgments, that can just like listen and say like, hey, what's happening? Hey, what's going on? In my life, I've had mentors, and mentors being my teachers, mentors being, like the people I see in my community. And like, I just hear those gems every now and then. Like, I know like with Wormworks, we had a play called Intergenerational Conflict, right? And that was by far one of my favorite plays that we did, because like it talks about different things that's going on, like let's say like from back then and now, but it's kind of like the same problem. Let's say my father growing up, he used to like get beat up and everything, and like he would talk to his dad and be like, hey dad, look, so and so is picking on me, like what do I do? And he said, yo, stop being a punk, yo, stop being a sissy. He like, look man, like I don't want to go out there, and then like his dad just push him out. So now I'm having the same problem right now. My father is a father, and I'm talking to him like, hey look man, Rodney, keep on like he keep on picking on me. And now he's telling me the same thing that his pops did. It's just that generational curse that we go through. But if somebody just stopped the cycle, if somebody just listen, hey, what's going on? Hey, what's wrong? Hey, how can I help you? Then that can change. Like that can have like a domino effect to when I have kids, when my kids have kids, and so on. So if we just listen, if we just support, if we just come together like we doing on this panel now, we already making a way. We already creating a change as youth. We doing what the adults didn't do. We're ending that line of not hearing. That's why, this new culture, that's why this new era, we're finding our own identity. No matter like who you want to call yourself, you can claim that. It's a new era, and in 2021 a lot of stuff is changing, and it starts with us, period.
I guess for me, along with listening and support, I think for adults it would be like understanding us or understanding where we're coming from and like making room. I guess because like being, I guess because I'm a minor, like being a minor is harder to do stuff, without a type of chaperone or an adult with you. And I guess like not, I mean, and I don't know, it's not like having them take the lead, but having us help, like having them to help us be leaders or something. I hope I'm making sense. I'm sorry if I'm not, but I guess yeah, it's just more of like understanding along with listening, understanding and supporting us because we're teenagers and stuff like that. We're trying to make a better future for us, but we're also like trying to make a better future for the people who still here. Like, cause the adults be like, well, I'm not gonna be here in the future anyway, but you should like try to make it better, like while you're still here. If them, that's well for me anyway. That's it.
No, I definitely agree. I definitely agree with that. Especially like the trying to make a better future while you still here. I feel like every generation, like that's your responsibility and like passing the torch and all that. And I also want to add one more thing to our beautiful list of things our adults got to do. Respect. Even if you don't understand, respect. Like if we like need the tools to do something that you're like, why do the youth want to do this thing? Like it doesn't even matter what it is. If like we show you that we truly need this for our community, y'all need to just be like, okay, like what do you need? And that's all we need from y'all, really.
Seeing you as an equal and not as like the youth. It's like, no, I have abilities same as you to create change, same as you. And honestly, in many ways, the youth perspective may be more helpful because of that radicalism of it. So I agree 100%.
And then also, respect is a two-way street. Like I feel like so many so-called grown-ups be like, "Oh, you need to respect me." Well, can you respect me too? Like I will respect you, but I need that back. Yeah.
Word. That's interesting. So, what do y'all think it is? Like all of what y'all are saying sounds like it's interesting because it sounds like things that our generation of parents kind of wasn't told by their parents in a general sense. Like I know, like my parents growing up, they had it kind of rough in terms of emotional availability, just because the generation before them had a heavy emphasis, excuse me, on following the code and then getting better by like following code, like using the master's tools in the master's house type of thing. So what do y'all think it is about this generation that makes us want to be more radicalized in our thinking and our treatment of others and in our just day-to-day lives? Like what do y'all think it is about this generation that has led to this type of enjoyment of radicalism? Not enjoyment, but like the taking the stands that are much more radical than at least the generations before?
I think the first thing that we need to understand is that our parents had to survive. Um, and surviving and preserving culture and preserving your family oftentimes leaves you in a space where you have to conform, because we know how these oppressive systems have worked. Many times it was conform or die, and I don't think we can fault people for choosing to live. I don't think we can fault people for just saying, hey, I'm just going to mind my business, do what it does, and stuff like that. And so I understand where it comes from, and I understand that it is both a hardship and a privilege to be able to think more radically, because it means that we're not in the type of survival mode where we feel required to completely adhere to certain ways of being and existing within these different systems. I think that what makes the next generation a lot more radical, and radical, I just want to like give a definition for it, just for we're all on the same page in terms of the connotation of it. For us, radical means to cut something off from the root. Radicalism is not about extremism. Radicalism is about basically assessing and dissecting the structure of whatever system that you're in, and recognizing that the continual treatment of symptoms is a colonial thing, rather than, and it doesn't really get the job done. You have to uproot it completely and plant something new. And we've been trying to tend to the symptoms for so now, and clearly all that happens is an evolution of the disease. And so I think it's really important for us to like preserve that realization that we need to keep that radicalism, because we've seen our parents struggle, and we've seen their our grandparents struggle, and we've heard about their grandparents struggling, and it gets to a point where it's like, well, we're tired of the survival generational things that you were talking about, that generational I have to survive after survive. Like, it gets to a point where down your bloodline, somebody has to get tired enough to say we're doing something different. And I think that is what it is, where the youth are really, really tired. Like, we have to grow up in everything that we did not decide, and all the residue of everything that's come before, and we want something new. I also heavily believe in astrology, and it's Age of Aquarius coming up, which means big changes. It is all about completely revolutionizing our perspectives and the way we handle things. So that's all of that for me. I know that's a lot. I'm sorry.
No, it was a lot, but it was a beautiful a lot, and in a lot that I agree with a lot. I would add to that as well. I feel like also the influence of art that we grew up with in our generation, like I'm thinking that heavily influenced like the way that I see the world, and like the way that I want to see the world. Like I'm thinking of like Avatar: Last Airbender and Teen Titans and like different animes and stuff. Like they really had like these 13, 14-year-old kids out here destroying capitalist systems and saving the world and like just wrecking stuff up. And it was
to build something, yes, by in the rubble, to build something new through that rubble.
Yes, and it was extremely just powerful, and seeing youth have that ability to show that leadership in like early on, I feel like really influenced me to be able to be like, okay, yeah, I could do that too. All right, bet. And I feel like that's also why I want to like get further into my art and animation, so that I can be something that influences like and plants that little like seed of something new in another generation. I think that'd be very special.
The Bible says each generation gets wiser and also weaker. So I know that I'm not as strong as my ancestors, but at the same time, my generation, we were born in technology. We had the phones. We had the phones, we had like the desktops and everything. And when I have conversations with my moms, and also like my brother, who's about 8 to 9 years older than me, he talks to me, about the Game Boy. I'm like, man, I had the DS. but still at the same time, like we were born in a society that has the dictionary, the glossary, and the grasp of our hands. So that means we can be informed, right? Ignorance means a lack of knowledge, right? Why be ignorant, when you can be knowledgeable about so many things? Okay, so like the thing is, like, I personally, like, I know, like, for me and everything, like, I try my best to be like, to, I guess, not get hip, but like just like to learn. I never want to judge somebody, just like I never want to judge somebody if I don't understand. I always like try to hear and listen. And I always try to educate myself. I feel as though the problem with a lot of people is, they just want to point fingers. They just want to point fingers. Well, I've been told, once when you point a finger at somebody, three fingers are getting pointed back at you. So you just gotta learn. You just gotta hear what when somebody are feeling. And I know we are all Afro people, and I have a connection with my ancestors. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I might, really don't know too many of, like, the history, of my people, because it wasn't taught to me in schools. But there's that connection that I have. So I know I'm not as strong as my ancestors, but I'm wiser than my ancestors. And I pray to God, that their prayers from 500 years ago, it's still the reason why I'm living today. It's still, the reason why I'm trying to make moves today. It's still the reason why, I'm trying to put food on the table for me and my moms today. So with that being said, like, technology is a beautiful thing. I say it's a blessing, and also it's a curse. But really, like, there's powerful in information. There's power in information.
I feel like, I guess what separates our generation from the past generations, like, I guess we're more open minded. I mean, we could be more open minded. Not all of us, because some people, when you're raised, you like kind of instantly become a little photocopy of your parent or the person that raised you. And I guess we also like set boundaries now, or like even in anything, like we're setting. I feel like even like in activism, we're steady setting boundaries, because when as like well, because I'm a minor, as like a younger person stepping into a room full of adults, it's like it's not like it's kind of a boundary being set. Like, I am younger, but at the same time I'm here to do the same job as you. Don't treat me as like a baby that can't handle herself, because that's the boundary right there. Or like, setting boundaries and friendships and stuff like that. And I guess like also taking the lead again with activism, we do take the lead when we step into a room full of adults, or as youth. And I guess along with having strong inner voices, not saying like the past wasn't strong inner voice, but we act on ours more, and is more passionate, because it's like kind of just it's kind of just like all like just coming out, and we can't take it no more. It's like, no longer holding on to it. So yeah.
Wow, y'all giving some reads today. Hold up now. I
just
wasn't
wanted
expecting a
to-
sermon. I was
just
not
wanted
expecting a
to-
sermon.
I just wanted to shade y'all real quick, because just as what you said about people not becoming educated because they're too busy trying to educate somebody, it was like spot on, because I feel it's that ego thing where I had to check myself on that, where it's like, no, sit back and like listen. And I think that adult youth dynamic is what perpetrates that, like, I gotta educate you because of those roles. So that was spot on.
Plus
I say that
that Bible quote, I was like, ooh.
Yeah, I got chills.
Carry on.
Yeah, word. Yeah, that Bible verse definitely. That's a poem cooking right there. The artivist wheel never stops. That's a poem cooking in there. But so with all that being said, in terms of just like now that we've kind of like established like the agreed upon like radicalization of this generation without fault to the past generations, I guess I would ask, what do y'all feel are the biggest challenges that the radical social justice youth of today face? Like, what do y'all feel like with all that we are comes with the choice to no longer mind our business, I guess?
I can answer that. I feel like something that I've been having to combat lately is just fear, mainly. Just fear of the unknown and fear of the known, of like everything that we have going against us that we have to face in order to like create this new world we want to create. Um and also because I feel like the fear that I felt was on purpose, like of the powers that be, um, and it keeps me down in a way where, what am I trying to say here? When you're at a vibration of fear, all you can do is add more fear into the atmosphere, and I didn't want to do that. So really, the main challenge for me was like channeling that fear and transmuting it into power and into joy potentially, and like bravery. And that's what art really helps me to do. So I'm glad that um I'm able to express that in those mediums.
I think similar
Sorry,
to
not to
Lovey,
Write it down.
the biggest challenge for me has also been internal. Um, I think there is just a lot of, do do I have to sacrifice my peace for the world's peace?
Mm,
And is that an obligation, or does my peace contribute to the world's peace by being another person at peace and trying to bring that to people around me on a smaller scale? And I think the biggest challenge for me has been like, okay, like, do I want to just be this really combative force on a larger scale, which is a very necessary position in change. You need that, but more so in terms of where do I want my personal placement to be, or do I want to incite change in on a smaller level with individuals, and doing a lot of spiritual work and a lot of like deep psychological healing, because it really does all start from within. It really is just a pattern that is perpetrated from the individual to the familial to the communal to and bigger so you get into like an entire global system. And so I think like for me it's really been like, where should my place be in this? What aspects of myself are best suited for certain places? And just like knowing how to balance, understanding that I'm dedicating my life to others, but there is also a selfishness behind that, and that's not a bad thing. I want the world to be better for others the way I want the world to be better for myself. Because I want that for me, I want that for everyone too, but I still want that for me. And so finding a way where I'm not sacrificing myself so that there is a me to create this change and to experience the change I create, because I deserve to live in that peace as well, has been the biggest struggle that I'm still struggling with. There's a lot of guilt around not being in the streets sometimes, and like doing the on ground work, and then sometimes it's like I don't have it in me right now. Like I need to cultivate something within myself. And so finding that balance is always hard, and you never know like if you're being selfish, if you need to be more selfless, if your selfishness is a more long-term selflessness. Yeah, that's just been real hard for me.
Yeah. I definitely felt you on all that, on the guilt and the selfish versus selfish,
Yeah.
like balance.
Yeah.
That's very difficult. And I also wanted to add that like if the revolution is a bird, I was talking to my mom about this, about how guilty I felt trying to be like the wings instead of the feet. And but you still kind of need that to fly. Like I was thinking about like whether I can even be in those like on the street spaces versus like just trying to create the art that inspires. But then I was thinking about like how influential it can be, because like art imitates life, but life also imitates art, vice versa. So like I want to use my art to imitate the life that I want to create so that it exists in the present. Yeah.
I think that everything you all said was absolutely powerful. I want to say like the only thing that's the only obstacle that's in my way is like you said, like myself, I feel as though like it's an internal thing as well. It's all like within your mind. Like each and every one of us, and each and every one of us, like who is in this meeting, can accomplish anything. You can do anything, you set your mind to, even like the naysayers, a lot of people like to talk a lot of trash, like a lot of people, like to say, no, you can't do this. I mean, you just this. I mean, you just that. I mean, man, you can't. Man, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like you can honestly do it. Like I said, like my goal in life is to change Baltimore for the better. But after I'm done with Baltimore, man, I'm trying to change the world. It's this I know it's this mindset in philosophy class. I learned of this word, right? The word was called utilitarianism, right? So what utilitarianism mean, and what a lot of philosophers, talk about is, saving the majority, besides the minority, right? um uh uh People talk about, like let's say, like there's this like train and stuff like that, right? And somebody is being tied, on the road, like on the track, and like they can't get out. So the thing is, do you want to save his life, and do you want to like hit the little switch to change the trajectory? But if you do that, then you're gonna hit the city, right? So what's one life compared to all these others? Man, I say screw that. Like why do I just pick, these different, demographics? Why do I just, sit there, yeah, because I'm black, I'm trying to help black people. No, man, forget that. I'm not like I'm not gonna follow those rules. You know, my goal in life is, you got to think about the lesser man, but then, you got to think about the man that's all the way up, so Tupac said, they got money for wars, but they can't feed the poor, right? Now you might be like, nah, I don't know what you're talking about, right? You can feed like, yo, like you can't feed the poor. It's just too many people out there. You can't feed them. All right, cool. A pandemic happened, right? You feel me? They put like what changed my mind is, they put trillions and trillions of dollars, into the vaccine. Guys, guess what? Anybody can get the vaccine now. They make the vaccine free. So you tell me, like you can't feed everybody out here. What's stopping you? What's stopping you? Like from like helping the homeless and getting these homes. You can't tell me nothing now because there's a free freaking vaccine out here. For everybody, anybody can take it. Right now at my school, they're having like free vaccinations. All I gotta do is sign up right on my phone, right? It's all a mind thing. People try their best, to input, utilitarianism, ideals into society, but what about helping everybody? What I'm trying to convey is, the only like, I don't care what higher powers, trying to fit me into this little box, that's trying to fit me into this little box and say, all right, look, you're a black man. Statistically, you're going to die before you reach the age of 20. You're not going, to not going to graduate high school. You're not going to get a degree. Out of the hell with that. I can do anything and you all can do anything. So the thing is, it's just a matter of when.
Wow. Can you repeat the question? Oh, sorry.
No, you're
I like
good.
all your answers. It was really good.
So the question was, what do you feel is the biggest challenge you are facing as a youth artist?
Um, I guess like mostly staying in the loop. I guess because it's got like trying to balance activism and school sometimes throw you off the loop. And I guess like talking to people, because some everybody not. I just you can't approach everybody the same way because everybody don't react the same way. It's kind of nerve wracking sometimes, especially when you're like a group of a larger group of people. I guess like other than that, like worrying about a lot of different things, like worrying about whether it's going to be a nice future, worrying about whether you're going to make an impact or not, worrying about whether the work that you're doing is going to be like in vain or just thrown under the rug or something. And along with like dealing with the anger and the frustration of, like making, like the anger and frustration of it feeling like it's no change yet, and like you've done all this work and it's just no change, and then like also having to deal with people say, well, that's just how the world works, when we literally we made the world, we can change the system, we're society, literally. And it's just like, that's how society is, we are society, what do you mean? And it's just anger and like built up frustration from seeing no change or a very slow change. And that's and I guess like along with the age, because of some limitations, but it's mainly just the worrying and the anger and frustration.
Definitely. Okay, so I want to remind the audience and people at home that you are free to ask yourself any questions. We are opening up the Q&A portion, so if you'd like to ask these young people a question, please feel free to in the comments below. But until we get some questions, we're going to keep going. I want to remind everyone that we are kind of coming up on time, so if we could keep our answers, I don't want anyone to feel stifled. I want y'all to continue, because I'm loving this. I don't think y'all understand. I'm really loving this. But yes, let's try to keep our answers brief. So until there's another audience question, I'm gonna go ahead and ask y'all another one. What is a prominent moment that you realize that your voice actually did matter, and so I guess more to put it in more simple terms, I guess, like how have you seen your success in the past couple of years?
I can go first. So I guess the time I've realized like my voice actually mattered, not gonna lie, is when I joined BAP. When because I guess being one and like it's something. It's just a feeling about giving out an idea and not knowing if it's like a good idea or not, and then have people like a collective group of people say, yeah, that's a good idea, and not like tossing it away, but also helping you improve your idea, and then like I guess seeing it actually play out and like working on it, and then building a base and stuff for it, and just watching, like I don't know, it's just like watching it. I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I'm making sense, but it's like just being there and being able to see something that was originally in your head and a thought and an idea like actually out and tangible work. I don't know. That's when would be a bit.
I'll say for me, the day that I realized that my voice actually matters, had to be, I want to say 2 years ago. I had an internship with this organization called Wide Angle Youth Media, and my internship was kind of like slowly like wrapping up with them and everything, and like I love the company dearly. So every now and then, I would have like these webinars with the company called Adobe. They own like Adobe software, Photoshop, and all of this, and it was basically like me and like other youth like across the world, just like occasionally talking about real world topics. So after this, my time with Wide Angle had like wrapped up, and like I was done. So like here I'm being a freshman at Morgan State, and I'm just like living my average life. And Wide Angle, they reached out and they said, hey, look, Adobe is doing this screening in Canada, in like 8 months, and they want you, to send like a poem and everything. They said, like this piece, can be anything that you want. And I'm like, what? Like these, like white people from Canada, like want me to want like this kid from Baltimore, to like do like a piece with them? Really? Like that actually matters. So my poem was called The Village It Will Take. And like it was screened 2 years ago, like in front of thousands of people in Canada. Like I'm talking about like billionaires, like a lot of like wealthy people saw it, And to hear like my voice, from like a city that's like so small, really reach echoes, all the way out in Canada in front of like all of those really well-off people. Like it really meant a lot to me, and like it really encouraged me that this battle of change isn't over.
First. I guess I can go next. I feel like the reason I really like loved spoken word, not loved spoken word poetry is because when you perform it, you can really like, if the poem is like important to someone, you can really see the moment where it changes something about how they perceive the world or how they perceive themselves. And I think that's everything. Like, I don't know. I feel like I can remember the poems that have changed things about my mindset and about how I move in the world, and in change like how I move through the world impacts how the people around me move through the world, because like everything is that domino effect. So like yeah, just like if someone comes up to me after I do a poem or a set or something, and be like, hey, that this is such and such line like impacting me this way, that like, oh, you can't see me touch my heart, but that makes my heart go doki doki, and that makes me feel successful.
Um, for me, I think it's less about has my work been successful and more about have I been an adequate vessel for the energy and the healing I'm trying to spread. Um, I was reading this book and they were talking about different yogis in India who had planted temples as places of worship and healing for different like communities and villages, and they didn't even leave their name on the temples because it wasn't about them. It was about the energy they're trying to bring in, and being an adequate vessel for that, and seeing that have a long term impact on, not even seeing it because it's having an impact long after they're gone, but knowing the energy that you're working with so deeply that it will long supersede you. And so to me, like, success has more to do with my authenticity to what I'm interested in, a lot of healing and self-sustainability work, which is not at all my idea or my like work. It's more so like what people have been doing for hundreds and thousands of years before me, and there being a rebirth of that through this vessel. And so for me, being an adequate vessel of healing, of people deprogramming and getting a clearer understanding of like what's going on systemically, of what's going on internally, um, to just be a person who can sit in circles like this and see these conversations and these answers being had, and knowing somebody's listening and that will reverberate like and bounce back and forth to other people. Like something as small as that is like, okay, like I'm content with how adequately I'm being a vessel of this, and that's kind of how I feel about it. Just like, am I bringing that healing energy to myself and then bringing that to everyone else around me so that they can bring it to everyone else around them, and we don't need leaders anymore, because what happens is we have these leaders and everyone puts them on this high horse and the leader dies or gets killed and everyone's like, oh man, like guess we're just gonna go back
the
to
movement's over.
yeah, exactly, because what happens is there's a leader when there are no leaders, and there's just people who are just being people and transferring that healing energy and the work they're doing with themselves to others. It is everyone is their own leader and everyone has the same trajectory, and so a lot more gets done a lot more long term. And so for me, success is about how do I embody that every single day, and how do I check my ego every single day when I'm like, well, that's my project, and like being like, no, check yourself, this isn't about you, this is about what's greater. And every day I'm able to do that, it's a success because it moves something forward.
Okay, word. That was oh wow, that was very thorough, y'all. So we do have 3 questions. We only have about 20 minutes left. So I want to give all of these questions their time and things like that. So there's 3 questions that we have from the comment section. So please try to keep our answers brief so we can give all these questions their due time. Other than this Charlene Rock Foster asks, other than this platform, how else can adults show up to listen to you?
Oh, what an excellent, excellent question, my friend. So I want to talk a bit about something that we are working on in the base internship with DewMore, me, Anisah, and Keyma, and a couple of other amazing, amazing youth. We are planning a freedom festival on Juneteenth, and it will be hybrid, I believe, correct? Mm-hmm. Hybrid, correct? Like a hybrid event? Yes. And there will be like a whole bunch of stuff happening, centering like healing work, self-sustainability, gardening, spirituality. There's gonna be sound healing. It's gonna be beautiful. We all trying to.
It's going to be an introduction to the programs we've been trying to create. A gardening and agriculture learning center that we can have in community gardens across Baltimore. The youth, which is basically a homeschooling program that is in the process that will not only completely have its own curriculum, since it will not be tied to the curriculum of Baltimore City Public Schools, but will also eventually, with the support of adults and the support of other organizations, be able to provide spaces for parents to actually have their kids do the learning in these homeschooling programs so that the parents can still go to work, because I know that's not doable for everybody practically. Food distribution services, because a lot of times, especially in Baltimore City, like it's like that's 2-3 meals a day that I don't gotta worry about for my kids. Like I'm gonna send them to school. So being able to make this homeschooling program accessible to everyone, and have the type of curriculum and type of education that is so needed and integral to keeping this movement going forward. Having y'all's support in that, and kind of being in tune with us for that and spreading the word about that would be a great practical next step for helping us.
All right. So for me, my Instagram is Justice the Official, and I have a business called Embrace My World Unlimited, where I create video projects, documentaries, and everything, to try to capture as well as cultivate, the voices as well as the stories of my community. I believe deeply, like I believe in like telling my story as well as the stories of my own community, before people who don't look like us tell it for us, when I'm dead, so the hell with that. So yeah, please follow me. I'm also working on creating a website and everything where all of my projects, all of my storytelling films will be featured on it as well. So stay posted. Just as the official again. Thank you.
I guess you can go to for BAP. We bottom out the project. We have leadership meetings every Friday at 4. I'm pretty sure we're putting a link to the leadership meetings like in our website soon. So and the website is www.410.ap.org. So you can hit us up on the website and stuff if you want to support or join the meetings or get into whatever we're doing. That's it.
I realized I ain't give my little personal socials. I was talking about the film festival, but yes, y'all are smart. You can follow me at Afrodelic with a 0, like Funkadelic, but with an Afro instead. On there are poems and there are small animations. That is what I mainly do. I am an animator. Um, and in the future, I'm working on like a mini series that centers a lot on um, ways to heal yourself and ways to uh, get past all the things weighing you down to earth. So stay tuned for that. That'll be like, that's a long range project, but there will be things of that on that thing. Yes, Afrodelic.
Okay, word, y'all. So we only got about 15 minutes left. So I want to remind us to try and get our time for these two questions. And so Rain asks, it doesn't matter if you plan to have kids or not, but if you become a parent / mentor to the future youth, what do you want to teach them, and what's something you'll do differently that your parents did / didn't do?
Can I go? I'm sorry that I feel like I'm okay. I'm gonna answer real quick. So yes, yes, I feel like I think this is a great question. I'm gonna say one thing that I feel like was really important to me as a kid and as something that my parents did well, and that's like promoting my imagination and daydreaming and like my belief that I can be and do and just be and do whatever I dream of can become a reality. Like that's the biggest thing. And also just not to base possibility off previous impossibility, because nothing will ever be created new if you do that. So yeah, just like boosting up the imagination. That's like the biggest, most important thing for me as a youth.
For me, it would have to be teaching instead of conditioning. So much of conditioning is like labeled as teaching when it's not. It like to tell somebody this is reality, this is how the world works, and to like condition a child to have a certain perspective is something that's very foul to me and in my perspective. So mentoring or having children where it's like you have free reign to explore anything you want to explore. And when you ask me questions, making sure to tell you, this is this is how I interact. This is what I've learned, but there is much more than me. And allowing for that kind of growth and not like using a child's mind to, I don't know, solidify your own beliefs of how things should be, and allowing a child to be its full or their full individual and fully embrace whatever it is they're meant to embrace.
Well, first off, my biggest accomplishment ever in life will become when I become a father. That would definitely be like my biggest accomplishment. When I have kids, I would like want to teach them, what racism is. I would want to teach them, what sexual abuse is. And not really try to like, well, when I was a kid, my mom always asked me, like coming from daycare, hey, did anybody touch you? You okay? You okay? But I wasn't really like fully comprehending, like what was going on. So I would really want, to put in rules and put in place of like systematic things, like in the world that goes on a daily basis. So my kid doesn't grow up to be a bigot and to be ignorant, to such matters.
I say it would be like to have them or teach them to be more open to more things, or like failure doesn't mean that it's like it's the end of it. You can just go back and try to revise it and then do it again. You can do it again until you get it right. Because I feel like society teaches us that a lot of things mean failure, and I don't want them to like don't do anything because they're too scared to fail at it, or think that what they're doing is wrong, or is nothing. And I would say the next thing would do everything with good intentions. And yeah.
Oh, there we go. Okay, word. All right. So we gonna get to this last little question here. Is there ever a point when art isn't enough? And if so, what as an artist do we do then? That's a good question. Is there ever a point when art is not enough?
Yes. A lot of artists, and I stand firm on this, use art as a way to say they're doing something when they're just saying something, and saying something that has already been said over and over again. Activism is about actively changing things. If you're in environments or countries where you're saying your voice, not that it actually has an impact, because your voice always has an impact, but if you're in countries where your freedom of speech is literally suppressed and limited, it is a very revolutionary act to actually speak out against the government, because it's very dangerous. Not to say things have to be extremely dangerous to be activism, but when something becomes trendy and a distilled and filtered out version of itself because of the continuous replication of the same thing over and over again, it stops being revolutionary and it becomes very mundane. And I feel like a huge part of the art scene is I see a lot of people, like, and including myself, we like to speak about things, but what are we actually doing in our lives tangibly that is solidifying the things we're talking about? If I'm sitting here and talking about anti-capitalism and still buying from probably the least ethical stores when it comes to like labor in other countries like Walmart, and not paying their laborers or paying their laborers very much, like, what active choices do I make to the best of my ability, right? Because it is also a privilege to like buy from more expensive but ethical companies and stuff like that. So factoring that in, but where I am able, and everybody is able to a certain extent, how do I implement this in my life? At some point, it needs to stop being talking about something and being art should be bringing yourself and expressing yourself and your life and how you're living in an artistic form. It should not be hollow. If you are not embodying what your art says, then your art isn't enough. And I stand by that 100%. Your art should be an extension of what you're bringing to the table, and not a front where it's like, hey, I'm saying something, now let me go back and, you know, live my life however, and not actually implement any aspect of what I'm trying to promote. So yes, art, it isn't enough if it doesn't come with the individual creating the art embodying that message to the best of their ability.
All right, so I'm gonna keep it short. I'm gonna say faith without works is dead. Okay, if you have art, you know, and like if you're not working, you know, towards like that problem, you know, that you depicted in your art, then you're doing absolutely nothing. All right, bam.
I guess for me, I feel like as long as you like have new art or like art that you can improve, there's like a way to spread the word or like continue to put the word like. I'm so sorry, I'm crashing right now. I feel like as long as you have art, is a way to like improve or make new ideas and spread it. I'm trying to keep it as short as possible. I'm not sure if I made sense, but that's it.
No, don't worry about it. I want you to speak your truth. I was calling time, yeah, but I also want you to speak your truth as Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh wait, I can go, or you, or
Oh, I was just saying, like, the time was just a reminder, but I also want you to speak your truth if you want to speak a little bit more, Mychaell.
All right. So I feel like because I use like I do draw, but I don't draw as much. It's mainly like spoken word or creative writing that I like to express thoughts and stuff. So I feel like as long as you have like an idea in your head or like a type of art that you can put out, there's no. I mean, it's gonna take time, but there's no way to like. It's not gonna be gone forever. Is what I'm saying. So I feel like it's always room to improve in your art or like spread it or make it the best that you can make it. Is what I was saying.
I also wanted to add that I very much agree with like the embodying the principles in the art that you create. I also wanted to add that like a lot of the times, like, as an artist, I feel very, very hopeless because of this very question. Like, I'd be like, well, I have all these things that I create, but what do they really, really create? And I feel like at those points, I really try to return to like the communities that I'm a part of, and just like returning to, because I feel like a lot of the times, like especially being young and like having all this like social media and having like death and despair constantly thrown at you whenever you go anywhere, I I feel very conflicted about this, but I very much don't want my joy to be stolen in my life. I want to live a good life. So I feel like when the art is enough, I try to be like going back to that, like being a little bit selfish and retreating to my good life slightly.
I know that's on time, but I didn't want to say this last part really quickly. If your art is being used as a gimmick to further the agendas of the state, for example, or your art is being used in corporate like ads, like Walmart ads, where they're like, "Hell, let's help the people," while like they literally have slave workers overseas and stuff like that, then it's not art. I don't care how revolutionary it sounds. If you are selling out your act, let me not say it's not art. I'm sorry. Let me correct myself. It is not activist art. It's not artivism. It is just you creating a pretty picture for a corporation or the state to use to be like, yes, we're really on your side, and spread whatever propaganda, and then you cash in your check. So for me, that is not artivism, and it's not enough at all. So yeah, I wanted to add that, but yeah, done.
Okay, word. All right, y'all. This has been a very insightful panel. I'm gonna go home. I'm writing poems after this. I don't know about y'all, but yeah, this was amazing. Thank y'all all so much for coming. And then I'm gonna bring on Adam to help close us out.
All right, y'all. Peace and blessings. Really appreciated all the words of wisdom y'all shared this afternoon. Keyma, excellent job. Just want to say, shout you out real quick. Excellent job for the moderation of the panel. Stellar work. And Justice, I was actually sitting back here because I wasn't on camera or nothing. I was like, when you said what the Bible says, I was like, oh, my brother is taking me to church at this moment. He's snapping my fingers some more. So I really deeply appreciate y'all for all y'all hard work. I know y'all are just gonna be stellar, more of the stellar leaders that you already are. And I deeply appreciate all of the wisdom that you shared this afternoon. And I hope to see y'all as the panoramic, the panini calms down outside. So appreciate y'all, and I will see y'all soon. Thank you.
Thank you so
much. All right, Keyma. All right, folks, you heard from the young people, powerful words of wisdom from Baltimore's young people. Thank you so much for participating this afternoon in the Youth Artists and Activists panel here at the Black Artists Fair for the Black Arts District. Thank you again to Keyma for moderating our panel. Folks, we would like you to respond in the comments section. Talk to us about how you felt about this panel discussion this afternoon. And matter of fact, I got this paper in the daggone camera right now, but I want to make sure that you go and fill out the activity survey. The survey is on the screen. I want you to tell us if you think this event was helpful to you. Do you think this event was good today? You heard a lot of powerful words from Baltimore's youth activists and artists. So fill out that activity link at the bottom of your screen. You can just fill it out and give us your feedback on this event. You can also find this survey on the Black Arts District Facebook page. You can also go to the Instagram link tree for the Black Arts District. Matter of fact, while I'm talking about that, let me put that on the screen right here. There we go. Right here on your screen, that is the social media handles for the Black Arts District. Go and fill out the survey there. The survey is also on those social media pages. Please remember to follow the Black Arts District on Twitter at _officialband and Facebook and Instagram at official Black Arts District. Continue to enjoy the Black Artists Fair by checking out our next event. And that is actually coming up at 3 p.m., which is our Contributions of Queer Artists in Baltimore panel. It'll be a really dope panel. So stick around. We have more coming here at the 2021 Black Artists Fair. Peace.